surprised the sledgehammer didn't give up before you were done.
We are streaming and we are live whenever you're ready.
Okay, I'd like to call this meeting to order, and we'll start off with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Approval of minutes for May 13th, 2025. I know there's at least one correction in there. When I was looking at them, I don't have the old minutes in front of me, but the comment that Sarah made about the former mayor, it should be Marion Butler instead of Harriet Ennis. Marion Butler was...
Yeah, we changed that.
Okay. 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 Do I have anybody approving the minutes?
Make motion to approve.
Anybody second?
I will.
Okay. Vote. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Moving on to old business, grandstand repair. Has there been a list submitted for the
Yes.
items?
Yep.
Okay. I noticed last night when I was out there, there were still some things that have not been repaired, so I will follow up with the city manager, or I will follow up with Public Works to see what their intentions are, if these repairs are going to be made before the fair.
I do have notice from the city manager's office, and the position was that the grandstand repairs are on the fair committee. They do not fall on the city, and it was told to them before. So the city is not responsible for the grandstand. It is on the fair committee.
Okay.
Just so we're all on the same page here, I emailed Mike, Mike Wyatt, code enforcement, who I was told is our go-to person. The list that I submitted to him, the grandstands were not on that list. The list I submitted were the weeds on the fences, growing out of control, the weeds in the ditches, the weeds on the island, all the mafia blocks everywhere have weeds around them. The walking bridges need repair as well as weeds done. Some of the downed trees that were there needed to be removed, but I believe they were already removed by the fair committee president. He went ahead and took care of that. The culvert by 2nd Street is also full, which a couple people had made a comment that maybe it was plugged again. So I did let them know that.
Excuse me, Sarah.
Mm-hmm.
You do need to stick to the agenda. You can't just bring everything up that was in your email. So the next point.
So where does that go then?
The next point would be fairground fencing. We're on B.
Okay, so save that for my comment section. Is that what you want me to do?
If you'd like to make that during then, yes.
Okay.
Okay, so in other words, grandstand repair is on the fair committee, that is not on the city at all. So the next time the roof is leaking, that's on the fair committee. That is not something that the city is going to address anymore. I'm assuming that's what you're saying, that the city does not do any repairs to the building?
If that is part of the grandstand, then yes, the grandstand is on the committee.
Okay. That's a new one on me, because they've always done any repairs on the building in the past 20 years, but that's okay. So for any fencing, or is that on the committee also?
That is on the committee as well.
Okay. Wetland mitigation.
Wait a minute, Dean. The fairgrounds fencing that's listed here in old business, that's for the fencing that we wanted to put in. That's not the fencing that's there already.
Okay,
What we discussed last meeting was, and what I had discussed with council and our couple council members and Mike, is what is there on the grounds is the city's deal. The fair committee is responsible for the building, anything attached to the building. So the concrete outside the building, the grandstands, anything in the building, outside, touching the building, it's the building. But the grounds itself is them. Now, if we want to add fencing, which is what this is talking about for, I had requested, can we put permanent fencing in? How do we make that decision? That's what this is talking about, is for permanent fencing, so we don't have anybody else trying to jump the ditch and have any more sprained ankles and knees and all that type of stuff. So that's what this is in reference to, is if we were gonna add more fence, if anybody is going to add more fencing, it's on them. If the city's gonna require it, or if the Fair Committee, Inc. themselves are requiring it, then it's them that has to do it. That's what this means.
okay, okay. Wetland mitigation.
That item needs to be tabled because there's no new update to the council, therefore there's no new update to you all.
Well, the piles were okayed to be knocked down, and they were done. They were done by the deadline. I was in contact with, are you still interim city manager, or are you city manager? What am I supposed to call you?
Deputy City Manager.
Deputy City Manager. I was in contact with her and the mayor over 4th of July weekend. They went and knocked the piles down. Hydro seeding was scheduled, that was done, so all of that is where it needs to be now. They're supposed to let us know if something's not done, then we can relay to whoever needs to come in and fix things. That's where we are with that. So the piles were done, knocked down and approved, and all of that was, pictures were taken, sent in, all that. So we did knock that out.
So MDE did approve for the piles to be knocked down as long as they were inside of the,
Correct,
okay,
correct. They okayed for the piles to be leveled, which is what we asked for, as long as they were done properly seeded and the buffer wasn't disrupted and all that.
okay. Moving on to new business. Fair schedule.
Fair schedule's out, and I had met with, I personally met with Chief of Fire, Chief of Police, Chief of EMS. They're good on all fronts. We have all the times to them as to when everything needs to be done. Was told by our contact, Mike, that the fair will be getting the trash truck, will not be getting the trash employees. They are short-staffed, so did relay to the fair committee that they will have to staff their own trash. The other requests, everything basically was granted on the request sheet except for the generator, which fair committee is aware of. I did relay that in their meeting to them.
Was all the permits put in for the fair?
So I did put the permit in for alcohol late. They don't know if they're going to let us have it or not, because I didn't get the mayor's letter that they had wanted until Friday, last Friday the 10th, or Thursday the 10th, whatever day the 10th was, when I got that letter. And Liquor Board said that they have a strong 30-day policy, so they do not know if they're going to grant the liquor license for the fair or not. They were supposed to take that back to discuss it. Last I talked to her was yesterday about it. She had no update for me, so I also didn't hear from them today, so I will try to follow up tomorrow. But that permit probably is not going to get approved, I would guess, but the rest of everything else that I am aware of, the fair committee or we have turned in.
You already commented, moving on to item B, fairground equipment's needed for the fair. You've already addressed that, so we'll move on to item C, the harness racing funds. Where are we at with that?
I have been soliciting donations, they're slow to roll in, but I'm still working at it.
Do you have, now, one thing that I have come into is the checks, if they're made out to the fair committee, they need to go into the fair committee's account, and the fair committee needs to write a check to the city, because their way I understand it is, it needs to be written out to Pocomoke City.
And most of mine, that's how I addressed the people that I asked for donations for, that's how I asked
I
them
know we
to.
got one that came into the fair committee.
Do you have any idea from who?
It's sitting in my office. I didn't do anything with it because I'm not doing this depositing, paying this and that. I want a
I
paper
gotcha.
trail. So if anybody has written out checks to the fair committee, they either need to run a new check and give it directly to the city, or I need some type of paperwork that says that they validate that that money is going to the city. Because we still do not have a paper trail from the Maryland State, anything official saying that the grant goes to the city. So I have asked Harrison and copied deputy city manager on that and asked them to either make it directly out to Pocomoke City, or they need to provide some sort of paperwork for when Harrison isn't there anymore so that it flows. So I am against running money that way. It needs to be made out to whoever it needs to go to, whichever it is, because the Fair Committee Inc. is a nonprofit and the city is government, and I'm against that. So that's just my personal opinion. I don't know how you all feel about it, but I would rather them resubmit the check to the proper person.
Okay. Okay.
As far as what your dollar amount is for the funds, do you know how much more you need to get the jockeys paid, or do we have any accounting on that whatsoever, wherever we are?
Most of my understanding, I've not done it in the past, we hold the races. The ladies and gentlemen fill out the W-2s, W-9s, W-2s.
W-9s, should be W-9.
10.
And the
Well, they
city.
get a 1099.
And they fill out a W.
W-9.
Okay, they fill out the horsemen fill out a W-4, it gets all handed into the city, the city draws the checks. And that's where the state grant money comes in, pays the city back for forwarding the checks. I don't know what word you want to use.
Well, the money that comes from the state, from the unclaimed
Lottery
the unclaimed
Harness.
tickets
Yep.
from the harness racing throughout the state is the money that we get from the state.
Right,
The purpose of that has always been
to pay the
to pay the
purses.
purses and to maintain
Track.
the track, the grounds, the building, any of those
Right.
items that come up that need to be taken care of. That goes towards paying the stone dust
Right.
and any of those turned in $20,000 worth of receipts, but they only had X number of dollars of unclaimed winnings.
Right.
That is split between Frederick Track and Pocomoke.
Because if we don't
But-
run the races, then we
But
don't
the
get the
thing
check.
is, when we submit that, we have to show that we are using that money.
Right.
The city always fronts the money, and then we get the money back.
It's a reimbursement grant.
It's a reimbursement process. But if we don't know how much money we have spent throughout the year, we can't keep a handle on where we're at.
So is that something that needs to be put, like, submitted? So, is there some way we can see that? Like, when we get the meeting
It-
minutes or something, is
it-
there some
it
way we
should
can
know.
know?
It-
Ms.
Brady
Brady?
should know.
It always has been in the past. My father would come in and he would worry somebody in the city office that would give him how much money had come
The running
in from the rent of the stalls, how much money we had spent. You're saying no?
No, I've actually talked to Harrison, and I've actually asked him, because Norman actually came in one time, and he asked, was there paperwork, and there, he thought that was some type of paperwork that needed to be filled out. When I spoke to Harrison, he said that no, there's nothing that we have to submit, it's just based off of winnings that are given, lost tickets. That's what I was told. Norman has never asked for any paperwork whatsoever.
No, there's a running, like, I don't know
I
what
think
words
that-
you guys want, a running total kept on.
You're talking about, I think you're talking about two separate things. She's talking about the grant money, I believe, not trying to put words in your mouth, but you're talking about grant money. I think what
The grant
You're
money
you're-
is, if Harrison says we don't have to turn in anything, it just automatically comes, then that's fine. But we have always, when my father came in, there used to be a printout that he would get from one of the ladies in the office that showed how much money came in based off the rent for January, February, March, whatever. How much money we had spent, like when we put the windows and doors on. And there was a income and an expense. And that way you could see where we were for the end of the year, because he always tried to keep it so we
Within
were on a budget.
Within a very close window of each other.
Well, this is actually my second year going on, and the second year that I've been here, I have not done that.
is there a way we can, okay, so
Well,
back up here a little bit. So my question is, how do you want this to work? Do you want it to work like me? Okay, so I'm a business owner, right? Everybody knows that's my thing. So how I would like this to work is, and this is just me, you guys can disagree or whatever, but this is my opinion, so I'm not speaking on behalf of anybody. But I think that it shouldn't be a net loss every year.
Which it,
So-
yeah.
So it's been, so is there a way that we can, as this committee, figure out where we are so that we know either we need to get more sponsorships, or we need to try to hustle things a little differently, or we need to maybe run some advertising to fill the barn, or maybe we need to something. Is there some way we can do that so that this does not operate at a loss? Basically, because the money's coming from somewhere, right? So I would like it to not to do that. So for me personally, and y'all, I don't know if y'all agree with me or not, is there some way we can know like where we are? And then my follow-up to that is, whose job is it to make sure that the tenants in the barn are paying? Like the horse owners are paying?
So normally what happens, some of them actually pay a year in advance. Then we have some that come in monthly. The only thing that we don't know if someone goes down there, because we normally only check once a month how many horses are down there. So if someone puts a horse down there and we don't know it, and that has happened before, and normally it happens right around this time of the year with the horse races, that horses go down there and we don't know that they're there. That's normally the only time that we don't know that there's a horse here. Mainly, everyone knows that they're supposed to come up here to City Hall, fill out the application with their vet paperwork, and that what the monthly rent is. So we normally don't have an issue with that, but this past year, with a lot of the horse owners actually leaving, there was not that many rentals this year.
It was 2 or 3.
Yeah.
For most of the.
For
year.
most of the year, she's,
Sure,
yeah.
I get that, but what I'm saying is, like, okay, so this is where we're at. What do we need to make, and how do we make it?
So just based off of memory, Sarah, we kind of talked about it.
Sure.
Donations are really, really down. Donations that you would normally receive from your big, normally that come in July and normally come in August. Normally you range about, what did I tell you, about 10, 11,000.
Yep.
And that's drastically down from years prior.
And there's one check sitting there.
And right now, if
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
understand.
if I'm not mistaken, Sarah, didn't I tell you one came in June, but it's really for July? It's like
Yes,
$1,500.
'cause it was end fiscal year,
Year.
so it was a $1,500
Hundred-
start in July when we had talked
Yeah.
about it. That's where we were. So what I would like, if
So once you pay out, so basically, once you receive those donations, and then once you pay out your races and you pay out your harness races and you pay out the purses, that's about, depending on the races, you're already at, if you think about it, the donations come in first. You've already depleted that with your races and your purses. So then when the grant comes in from the state, that is just enough right now to cover the stone dust, nothing else. Because last year, the stone dust, I believe, was about 15,000
that's what it was when we called this year.
year.
Yeah.
So it's not that many vendors that do it. So I think the previous years, they've always used rentals. I don't know who you guys are, rentals. So it's gonna be another 15,000. So if you really think about it, the stone dust, that grant only
That
covers.
they knock each other out.
Right, and I get that. Well, my thing
But
is,
I understand what you're,
9,600.
That's what it was last year, because Douglas told me.
no, it was 15,000 last year. I have the invoice.
Okay.
Okay.
It was over $15,000.
Because he told me himself again Monday, 9,600 is what he put in it.
Give me 1 second. I will go pull the invoice.
I'm not saying you're
No,
not
no, no,
right, I'm just telling you
no,
what
but
he
if
told
you
me.
can get it for 96, we
Hold on
gonna
for 1
have you
second.
call.
And that's Reynolds again. So I understand, like, and, I mean, it was
Okay.
2 or 3 stalls rented all year until,
But still, I'm like Sarah, as a business owner, we need to get a handle, we need to, if we're having a meeting once a month, it should be like a treasurer's report, and it doesn't have, I would like to see what we're getting for your rental income, what our expenses have been at the barn, because unless it's something major that you gotta have, like the windows and doors, because they were falling apart and somebody was gonna get hurt or injured,
Right.
then we don't need to be spending any money unless we have to.
Or if we have something specific that we need, like, let's go hustle that now before it's a problem. You know, like, let's go say,
Correct.
hey, we need so many sheets of plywood or so many whatevers. I think if we kind of knew what was going on a little bit, if it falls on our laps to fix it, which I'm interpreting that it does, because that's the point of us being here, right? Is so that this committee handles the racing part of what's over there. So if that's true, then if my interpretation is correct, then I would like to know what exactly we're doing, dollar-wise, what we're down, and how we can alleviate some of that pressure somehow, or how we can make money with it. If it's adding the live betting, or if it's whatever have you. If it's more than one race a year, because we need the entry fee money, or the gate money, or whatever. I just would like to know what are we gonna do here to
I
make
mean,
the
if we made some
dollars?
improvements to the barn, we could get more renters in there.
Sure. Is there any way we can get a list of that? What can we get
What
for
the
a list?
improvements are?
Yeah,
I've had an improvement list for months.
so if we can get the improvement list, can we get it bid somehow? And then maybe we can call some of these lumber companies or call some of these companies and say, hey, look, this is kind of like, can we work something out? Can we do a 50% or a 25%, or can we get so much donated, or can we get something?
I mean, there's 21 stalls down there, and probably a good 6 or 7 of them, you can't slide the gates.
Right.
Can't put a horse on a gate, you can't slide.
No, I get that. I'm just saying, like, where are we at? You know what I mean?
Okay. So we had 2 quotes, which the first one was Bosman's. They quoted $16,500. Reynolds Excavating was the cheapest at $15,000. It was $11,000 for the stone dust, and for cat grader was another $4,000, which totaled $15,000.
So I wonder if that's where the difference is, the grading.
Okay, but all right, we'll go with that. We'll go with,
I mean,
we'll go with the grading. Okay, let's just go with that. We're still, if by having John call, we get it at 9,
Oh, well, John's gone.
then let's save the $2,000. You know what I mean?
You just gotta have a PO number.
We just have to have PO number, and you have to get it cheaper than this. I guess Brandy you don't care if we get it cheaper, right?
Nope.
So, I mean, that's kind of where I'm at. Well, this is what I want to know, like, there's no reason this should be a net negative. We talked about this. There's no reason this should be a net negative. There's enough people now, there's enough momentum, the fair committee's done an awesome job, we're on track now. The communication with the city has been, to me, at least for me, has been 100 times better.
Right.
So
Right.
I don't see why we can't make a go at this and, you know what I mean, get the stuff cheaper if we can, use some connections, or we can get some stuff donated or whatever have you. I mean, I don't know. What do you think, Dean? No?
I would like to see it not be a burden on the city. I would like to see us at an even keel, but by the same token, we need somebody once a month prior to, like, when we get our agenda, for us just to get a copy of, here's what your income is, and here's what we've spent, like when we did the windows.
So I'm going to say this. Your income is probably going to be at the most, without just not including the stalls, it's probably twice a year, which is your donations and then the grant that's normally what it is, just a grant from the state, and then your donations from your contributors for the purses and stuff.
But
So
the
this-
rentals fall in there.
Yeah, but, okay, so rental falls in there, but also, you know, as a landlord, there's expenses that go along with that. So like I guess,
Well, that's
like
what-
I want the P&L sheet that Dean's talking about, like where are we? So like if we can get the expenses covered, I realize the city wants to handle all of the maintenance and all that stuff, cool, whatever. But at some point in time, if we can grow these races, we can get that barn full, we can get everything else, then we're not covering, as taxpayers, covering the maintenance on the grounds for all the hours that they gotta spend out there. There's probably 30 hours worth of weed eating out there right now that's falling on the city before the fair, cause the
But
place
other
is.
than grass and weed eating, nothing's been done in that barn.
I know that, but that's what I'm trying to say is
I'm making her itchy.
but that's what I'm trying to say is, this board, we're representing the city, right? So this board, for me, I feel like we're just the managers of that situation, so we need to make sure that situation makes the money. So that's where I'm trying to get at is what exactly are the P&Ls for this that we need to bring in, and what's your list of whatever needs to be fixed, and then can we run some ads? Can we advertise some stuff? We've got a horse arena out there now. There's now that one spot's leveled out, we can fill the mud ball pit in and it not be a hazard anymore. We could put a practice arena over there. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff we could do to make money out there. so that it's not a net negative. That's all I'm trying to
Yeah,
say.
no, I don't disagree.
I'm not trying to
but-
add more to our plates. I know I'm adding more, but I mean, I just don't like red at all on any of my balance
But
sheets. I don't like,
And this falls into what you're saying. If we don't know what the expense is,
yeah.
which at
give
this
it to
point
us.
we don't,
Right, but that's what we're,
if no maintenance has been done to the building, other than the brand new windows and doors, which look lovely, by the way. I mean, you're not paying tax on the building. What is the expense?
If we get more
Water?
income coming in because we get more horses in the barn, I would like to see kind of a monthly update, if that's possible.
you gotta spend money, make money, man. That's all I gotta say. So somehow, we've gotta get creative on fixing up that place over there, so it's nice, so that people wanna bring their horses.
The biggest thing is, it's gotta be clean. The
Yeah.
inside of that barn is,
I got a spider thing, man. Sorry.
it's nasty.
It's disaster.
It's terrible.
I would.
So
I
what's
mean,
the-
it's so much better now with the windows. You didn't even want to put your hands
But
on
like,
the
what's
sides
the
before.
leases say? What does
What
the
do you mean, what does the
leases,
leases
but what does the leases say? It should be on the tenants to
have-
fix this stuff. I'm a landlord, and if my tenants trash my houses,
But they're not,
like, they gotta clean
Okay.
their own area up.
but we're not talking about leaving an empty bag of feed. We're talking about
Cobwebs
cobwebs
in the
30 foot up in
ceiling.
the air.
Exactly. That is what the main, that's the thing. You
I
would go
would-
in there and you would think you're in.
I would
a
love to
Halloween
power wash
bar.
the building, but you can't. How do you power wash the building? Where do you put those 6 horses? While you power wash? Because you know just as well as I know, horses are flighty.
All right, so how do the big barns do it? How do the big barns keep their barns from looking like that? How do they do that? Do they have, is that a professional?
full-time maintenance?
Is that what they do? They have
Yeah.
somebody that does that?
Yeah.
So how often would you
Yeah,
have to have
yeah.
somebody come in? 2 days a week?
The only thing that I could see.
If it
we
was
could
done
do-
twice a year right now, it would be an improvement.
Man, that's gonna fall on us, you know that, right? So you're gonna be up there with a broom being like, get away, cobwebs, and then you're gonna creepy crawly spiders all over you, and you're gonna be
Not
throwing a
me.
fit.
Air
The one
necks,
thing that
air
I
necks.
can see that we could do is arrange it with the people that have horses in there, that on a certain date, if it comes about that power washing is the only way to clean the inside of the barn, give everybody notice that on such and such day, we are going to clean the inside, so you have to have all your tack out, unless you want it to get wet.
$25 bags of feed.
And all your straw, all your hay, or any of that stuff removed from the barn on a set time.
We could do half and half the barn, move everything to that half, we'll come the next weekend to do this half. Then move it down there.
That would be fine, but something that you're gonna need to get a price on, because as you said, we don't need to operate in the red.
Right.
There is, we gotta see what it was gonna cost, but I'll be honest with you, it needs to be done. And that way, but now we do need to stay on our tenants, because I have been in the barn and pointed out that there was 5 or 6 things plugged into a surge suppressor cord laying on top of a bale of straw. They burnt that barn down once and burnt horses up. The guys in the barn have also got to have some sense of responsibility to realize, hey, we can't do this. That is one of the things that we
I-
need to address with some of the people renting the stalls.
Now, see, I also thought that when Mike did the tour, Mike wanted some changes made with the electricity down there.
So I have a question. Have you guys thought about instituting a fine for different things?
I have recently.
I mean, are we allowed to talk about that right now?
I think that needs to come in the
Yeah,
barn,
E.
horse barn rules.
E.
Huh?
We're moving
E.
along from horse track maintenance to
Okay, horse barn rules, yeah,
Mhm.
the
that's fine.
barn rules. We need to implement some rules and set it that these are the rules, and effective this specific date. That way the horsemen have plenty of notice that these are gonna be the new rules
They have
that's
to
gonna
sign off
take
on.
into effect.
Mhm.
lease amendments.
Mhm.
And,
No
and,
problem.
and at that point, you put in there, this is what's expected. If not, then you're gonna pay X number of dollars of fines
Mr.
per
Brady,
violation per month.
do you have a
Is
copy
that-
of the lease?
Yes,
I'm
give me.
sorry, I don't mean to run you all over. I apologize.
I feel that is something that we need to do.
Absolutely. I made up a list of rules,
I would like,
which we have to go over.
okay, so, well, we can't go over that tonight.
No, I know.
No.
So, my question here is going to be, are we putting cameras in? Or is this a he said, she said thing, or a you have to catch them thing? Because that is going to be an expense.
I don't feel we need to put cameras
I don't
in,
either.
but it's one of the issues that I've seen is basically common sense issues that you don't need to be doing, and.
Right, okay, so the extension cord thing. I'm
the
gonna
extension
say,
cord
you're
thing,
gonna come in and yell at me, and I'm gonna say, it ain't mine, it's his. And then he's gonna say, it ain't mine, it's theirs. So that's what I'm kinda saying, like, how are you gonna know who's supposed to get the fine?
But if the extension cord is plugged in, running a fan in your stall, you can't say that it's hers.
Gotcha.
Or if you've got it on top of your tack box, or on top of your pile of hay or straw that is outside of your stall, she's not gonna put it in front of your stall.
Right, I got you.
So, I don't think
What about the dust on the
that
track?
is gonna be a he said, she said thing.
Okay,
That's gonna be something that needs to be addressed in the barn rules, that they need to water the track before it's dry. Because I know you've gotta be getting tired of getting phone calls
How many did you get?
about the dust.
how
Well-
many did you get past 4th of July?
Well,
I
we
know, I
actually-
got a phone call.
Yes.
That much.
Listen, July 5th, I got on them.
well, so it wasn't even a phone call. It was actually me being on social media and seeing somebody post it and say, hey, I need somebody to get in contact with Sarah because dust is going.
How did I even miss that?
But,
I don't know how this all became me.
it was the closest person I knew. But no, 4th of July, we did, there were some calls about the track, and we kind of did discuss that a little bit about not possibly doing a fine with that as well, that if you go out there to the track, that you have to water that track down prior to you going out on the track. If not, then there's going to be a fine. And you guys have to think about it too, even though with the stall rent being as low as it is, the fines have to be a little bit more heftier
To hurt.
because
To hurt.
What?
To hurt.
we
To make them stop doing it.
just to
That's why you do
that
it.
yes, to have them stop doing it, and not only that, we don't want EPA, we don't want MDE to continue to keep coming out. We don't want a reason for more people to come out here to Pocomoke and to the Pocomoke Fair. That's not what we want. So I think if we start to institute those things, and we can do a lease amendment, and then that can also be an additional sign that we put up as well that says, hey, you have to water the track prior to you taking your horses out onto the track. If you do not, then you're subject to this fine. Now, the question I have, are there cameras where you can actually see
Outside.
you can see who takes whose horse?
Well, the thing
They're
is,
not
I don't
outside,
think
they're
it's as
inside.
much as when they're jogging, exercising the horse. It's when they're dragging the
Track.
So if they're dragging the track so that it fills in the hoof prints to make it so that one of their horses doesn't stumble or anything, when they do that is when you get all the dust.
Dust. So either
And you get all the complaints.
So either way, whether or not it's the horse running or them dragging the track, there should be an amendment to the lease that states if this does happen, and not even if we have complaints, if we continue to see it, then this is what's going to happen.
Yeah. And
All right, John. Me and you have worked a whole lot of different types of ground and different types of tracks. Is there a way, without making it too wet for those horses to run on, to wet that dust down to where it's not going to be an issue safety-wise for those horses running on it?
You're gonna have to put several loads of water in it before you do it, before you run your horses.
Are you talking about for the fair?
No, I'm talking about
On a daily basis?
on a daily basis.
There's no way to do that.
There's not much you can do unless you go put a center pivot in it.
So that's what I'm saying. So you're gonna
And-
fine
and
them for
back-
dragging a track that they're never gonna be able to keep the dust down on.
No.
You have
It's not them when they're exercising, it's when they drag the track to smooth the track out, so it works better for them to exercise. Running that horse around there by itself, because generally it's
Make
one
it a little
horse
puffs.
running, and at a time, maybe two at the most, they are not gonna create the dust cloud that they do when they hook that drag behind the pickup and pull it around there anywhere from 5 to 15 mile an hour. That's when your dust cloud comes. That is when it needs to be irrigated, needs to be watered prior to dragging it.
I did receive a complaint when I spoke to one of the renters, and I was like, hey, this has happened, you guys have to do this, and I immediately caught some slack back and said, well, we're gonna get in trouble, then the fair committee should also get in trouble.
How
So
often,
we have to keep our dust down as the fair committee.
how often do they drag that track? Once a week, twice a week?
No, it should be more than that. It should, if you properly put it to bed, which is what that's called, they should wet it, make at least 2 laps with the water, and then you drag it. And you drag from the inside to the out. And you should do the same with the water, and that's called putting it to bed.
Let's see, to do that, that's gonna take about 3, maybe 4 loads of water with this small truck.
Well,
It holds, what, Dean, 1,500?
1,500 gallons.
when that same person said to me, the fair committee should also do it when they do events, he said to me, how are we supposed to drag the track with a broken truck? And I said, wait a minute, from my understanding, the brakes on the truck, the city came and got the truck and fixed the brakes.
There's nothing wrong with the brakes on the truck, they don't know how to drive the truck. It's an old
That's the
school
problem.
truck, and you gotta pump the brakes to get it to stop. It is a 1972 truck, it's probably older than part of the ones out there training horses. It's not a modern truck, you're not gonna step on the brake and it's gonna throw you through the windshield. You push it to the floor, you let up, you push it again, and it will throw you through the windshield.
Well, you have to go and hold class, because they're not getting it.
Evidently,
I said, as far as I know, the city came, took the truck, had it repaired, and put it back. Anybody? See,
Yeah.
ladies are in agreement.
yeah, I've driven the truck. I drove that truck with a lot of grain behind that truck. I know
They
how to drive that
just
truck.
used that truck for the rodeo, for the concert and the rodeo. We just used that truck.
But that's my point. I said to him, it has to be watered. He said, I am watering it. Then complained about the shape of the truck. And I said, wait a minute, the truck has been repaired, so therefore not been watering the truck.
If they don't know how to drive it, they need to find somebody else down in the barn to drive it for them. Because that's a lot of the problem down there. There's people using stuff in that barn that don't know how to use it. I remember they were given a pickup several years ago, and when the pickup was in good shape, and within a year, they destroyed it.
Because if you don't pay for it, you don't take care of it.
So, and that brings up another question I've got. Who owns the water truck?
The city does.
The city does,
Yes.
okay?
Does the city also insure the truck?
Yes.
Does
it
that
is.
fall under the whole
So-
fairgrounds?
Just say that Sarah's using the water truck
Why is it
to
not being
water,
me?
to water the fairgrounds, the harness race track. And something happens and she gets hurt, is the city gonna be liable, or is the fair committee gonna be liable?
Well, we have insurance on the fair, I mean, on there is insurance, so if someone had an accident in that vehicle, something happened, and that's.
It would be on the fair, it would be on the city. It's the city's truck on city property. The
Okay.
keys were left in it, so unless you can claim that I stole the truck and it was criminal, it's,
On the city.
we as the city and taxpayers are liable for that, I would say.
Okay.
That would be me, I would think.
Where are the keys left?
As far as I know, in it, right?
I have no idea.
Generally, they're either in the ignition or
It's
they're
just
in the
televised.
ashtray.
Yeah.
It is televised.
They should be in some type of key box, just in
In
case.
the barn.
In the barn, because if you just prime example, what you just said, Sarah. If someone,
I was out of this. I was not involved in this.
but
Drive
you
the
just brought
trucks.
up a very good point. If someone goes on the fairgrounds, because anyone can just walk onto the fairgrounds. Someone gets into that truck and they take the truck, we have a problem.
I'll address that tomorrow.
So,
Oh, it's gonna have to be Thursday.
We just went over, nobody
Tomorrow's
knows how to
Wednesday.
drive it, so we're good.
Yeah, until you get a 16-year-old out there.
so if it's possible, even if it's just something where you can hang, but it needs to be in some type of box. The keys themselves don't need to be inside that vehicle.
I will take care of it Thursday.
Man, this is live stream. You ought to go out there right now and handle that.
See, Sarah?
What? I'm on record saying that. I'm clear.
If possible, if someone could go after this meeting.
I will
Go
go
get
get
the
the keys.
Thank you.
I will.
Thank you.
I just wanna
Take
make
that
sure
upon myself.
everybody's covered.
Yes, and
Because
it's a very, very good point that you guys brought up, but you are correct. Those keys don't need to physically be inside that truck at all.
if you get a good lawyer, we're all in trouble.
Are we good with the barn rules and equipment owned by the fair committee?
I only have one more question
I
about
have one.
what?
I have one.
Okay. My question is the red barn. On our list of whatever our,
Okay, yes.
for the Fair Committee, Inc., on their list of, for their insurance list of buildings, possessions, etc., the red barn is listed on that sheet. Is the red barn the Fair Committee's, or is that the city's?
I believe that was put in the fair committee's name once we got it up and operational.
Okay. And the white barn is the city's, because that's not on the list.
The cow barn?
The cow barn.
White barn was there before I got there, I know nothing about that.
Okay, so that was probably Merle's or whatever.
The block building has been there since Christ was a child.
Okay, so, all right,
That's been there.
I just wanted to
for a
clarify
long
that,
time.
so that was where it was supposed to be, that's all.
That was not clear to me at all.
The
Where-
red,
who that
the
belongs to.
red barn that you're referring
Mexican
to, it was actually taken down by the Fair Committee, Inc. from another location, and it was donated to the fair, but it had to be taken down and re-erected here.
And the
Even though,
fair,
and it was done on city property. So I'm not sure, being it's on the city property, technically, is that Inc.'s or is that the city's? That's a question for the city and the city's lawyer to figure out who is actually, because it's physically attached to the city's property. So therefore, it's a fixture of the property.
Okay, but if by that argument, so is the building and the grandstands.
I understand that. And
But there was
that's-
like
I know there was a specifics in his will
I thought
about
it was
that,
like
I
a
know that, I'm just saying, I'm just
footage.
being a pain.
But both of them basically fall the same way. And the white building and the horse barn is all affixed to city property. So however you wanna argue it, is it the cities or is it the Inks?
I mean, it's $40 to insure a year, I don't really think they care, I just was trying to, I just am trying to navigate this so that it's set, that's all.
And that's something that the city wants to look at. Are we both insuring the same building? Because there's no need for the city to be paying insurance on it and Fair Inc. to be paying insurance on the same building. Am I correct?
So how about we do this? How about we table that and I can get you an answer in a couple of days? Or we can wait until the next fair board meeting?
That's fine, but you see what I'm saying, because if we're trying to stay out of the red, there's no need for both entities to be paying insurance on it.
But if you really think about it in the grand scheme of things for insurance purposes, considering that all of our insurance is all on one, that specific thing for the fairgrounds is very minimum to the city. But I will double check to see which items of the fairground is actually on the city's insurance, and that way we can compare. That'll be the easiest thing.
Oh, yeah, because if the city's and it's minimum dollars,
Mhm.
then Inc. doesn't need to be
Be
paying insurance on it
insurance.
also. Because
$40 is a tank full of gas.
you're only gonna get one insurance company to
Insurance,
pay out
pay.
on it. You're not gonna turn it into both.
Mm-mm.
So it's no need for both places to be paying for it.
So that's pretty easy for me to
Yeah,
look up.
I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Thank you, ma'am.
I have a question about the discussion with the horse barn rules. Does the city have a problem, or tell me what the procedure is to put in rules, amend the leases, and have the tenants, old and new, hopefully new,
So legally, legally, the city council, whatever, this is a legal binding document.
correct?
So whatever you do, whatever amendment you do, whatever you change on this, I would assume legally needs to be voted on and approved by your city council, because this is a legal doc. So they need their attorney to look it over, need to make sure it doesn't conflict with any Maryland laws, federal laws, whatever, but this is a legal binding document, that's what goes to court. So they would probably have to have the final say on
Say.
that. You could suggest it probably and submit it in writing so that the labor is off of the city employees and them, and the city council, mayor, whatever. But I would assume this would have to go to whoever is at the top of the totem pole for approval.
Right, so come up with the rules.
Come up with the rules,
Right.
come up with the changes, and it's just like the only thing that you're not gonna be able to change, because that was in our fees and schedules, is the rates. That you're not gonna be able to.
Fine.
The fines that should not, I mean, because this is something that has now started to occur, and I think that is something that we can change, but I will double check with the mayor and council, and I'll check with our attorney as well to see if that can be done. Because if you think about it, if we're gonna get fined,
Right, you can't,
so
We should at least be
You
able to
shouldn't have to
pass it
bear
the
that
tenants, yes,
Because this does say, I did read in here, this has to, they have to follow all Maryland and
Federal
federal
laws.
laws. So, and it also, there's also a clause in here, or a rule. I liked
Sub.
it, wherever it was,
Sub.
I'm gonna use it. 'Cause it's very open-ended, wherever it is, I was gonna use it. Oh, to the, it's basically, where did I see that? It was like up to the lesser's, standard or
There's-
something like that. I was like, man, I like that. So, as an open-ended thing, I was like, I'm putting that in my lease, but wherever that is, it's in here somewhere, I just saw it. But I would, if that's the way it's gotta be, then, I mean, we could change it and just say that if worst case, we as the city get fined, it passes on to
the tenant,
the tenant
tenant,
plus administrative fees, because now it's run through our staff that we are paying to do that. So you are gonna have to pay admin fees and whatever the certified mailing is and the fine. So
I just have to
jacking
warn
it
you
up.
that with that, the 2 of the 3 tenants that are in there, you may chase them out. I'm just, that is always a possibility.
I mean, you cannot, as a landlord, be afraid of your tenants leaving. There
I'm
will
just
always
throwing
be
it
more
out there.
tenants. There will always be more tenants. I mean, if the bottom line is this, it's not us that made this rule about the no dust. It's the state, government, whoever. It's somebody
It's the EPA.
way more powerful than us that made this rule. So it's tough, dude. Like, it's not our deal. To me, it's tough. If you don't want to follow the rules, I mean, that's kind of like it is what it is. You're paying $100 a month, you get fined 3 times, we're already in the hole.
I don't know.
What?
I don't have a problem. I'm not arguing. I'm just telling you that you may chase more.
Man.
So
I
the
don't have a
procedure is
comment.
come up with them, and then hand them in.
Yeah, and then we can, that's something that we can do, that's something we could do, in a work session. Now, that probably won't happen until council comes back into full, sessions, which is what, Melinda, September? In September, we can do a work session and go through it, and then we'll go from there. But we do need to address it, and it's a good thing that we're talking about it now, so that we can, and maybe be prepared, and maybe some people are listening and saying, hey, I need to get myself together.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think any of us are trying to deliberately chase anybody out. I don't think that's the point. The point is that if we're held to a rule, you need to be held to the same rule we're held to. That's all.
You just need to be held
What
accountable.
are you doing? Nothing.
Yeah, hold them accountable.
Any other comments?
No,
No.
no.
Okay.
Sorry.
Item number 5, sports betting for 2026.
I just asked because I don't know how to do it. I saw people commenting on Facebook and whatever because they wanted to know if there was betting there. I also know that the betting tickets that are basically unclaimed also funds the grant fund. So my thought process was, I know there's qualifications for it. We briefly discussed the measuring, the judging, the et cetera, et cetera. Is that something that we can look into and figure out how much that's gonna cost us to do that and see if we can do that? Or are y'all just, I'm crazy, we're not doing that?
It's gonna take a year plus.
Okay, well, that's 26, bro, that's a year.
You're probably
Plus. Plus.
heavier on the plus side of that.
Is it worth it? I mean, people like, beer and gambling is one thing people like, so.
I don't know that
I
it's
think
gonna
of
be
people-
worth it to us, being we were only doing 1 race a year, to have to jump through all the hoops that are gonna come along with that.
I mean, we don't have to stick to once a year. I would have loved to have done more races, but I couldn't figure out where I get purse money from.
Exactly, and that's gonna be your issue there. If you're gonna do that, then you're gonna wanna run more races, and to do that, you're
You
gonna have
need
to
more
get
money.
more purse money, and we're struggling to get purse money now,
What?
so therefore.
Gotta pay money, make money.
Yes, you gotta spend money to make money, but I don't know that's the answer, because I'll be honest with you, I don't wanna be out there every weekend.
Does it have to be every
I'm a
weekend?
volunteer, and
How many races do you have to have a year for that to be worth it?
I would have to look it back up.
Okay, I also have a follow-up question. So, how many races do some of these other tracks have?
The place I'm
well, the
working.
thing is, your Pocomoke had numerous dates, and they gave their dates other than the 1 day to Ocean Downs. That's how Ocean Downs got more dates, because each place initially was allotted so many dates. Frederick has 10 dates. Pocomoke had so many dates. We gave our dates.
But you can ask to expand them.
We can. But that's how part of that
start at the beginning and get permission.
Okay, but do you have, like, I'm not from horse racing world, okay, I'm from motorsports, but if you only have one circle track race a year, you're not gonna build up your circle track cars. So
Right.
if you have 4 or 5 races a year, you build up your circle track cars, because now you have a series, right?
4 or
So
5.
is that where you have to be, is you have to commit to something like that? Can you commit to 2,
Four or
can you
fi-
commit to
4 or 5
3?
would be,
Like,
Well, the
there
thing
there are
is,
rules that
And then
govern
will
it.
that bring in more people in the barn? Will that bring in more revenue? Is that what we need
It
to
would
bring
definitely
in?
bring in more revenue.
the,
Would it get long-term renters?
probably not, the big.
That's a hard one to answer.
The big thing is, like you say, with motorsports, you get a following.
Sure,
With this, the majority of our racers are young and up and comings that need the experience in the seat. A lot of it is because they've got a horse that they don't want to run at one of the big tracks because it's not to the point of having enough track time to be experienced enough to run against a horse that's gonna run less than a 2-minute mile. You're seeing horses that are running much slower.
right.
It's a lot of people will refer to your fair races as like training races.
Yeah,
That's a stepping stone. Some of your jockeys that are running in Ocean City now got their start right there on Broad Street. That's where they started racing, and that's where they got their experience.
so it's like grassroots racing compared to World of Outlaws. I get
Correct,
that, but
right.
grassroots still has a lot of, I don't know. I'm not.
Yeah, no,
familiar.
it's a good comparison. It's a good
Correct.
comparison.
It is a good comparison, but it's one of those things that you're not gonna get a ton of people, you're not gonna get a ton of money thrown at it, and the amount of money that you're gonna spend to get vetting, I don't think is gonna be worth it unless you got somebody with really deep pockets that says, I really wanna see this happen, and I'm gonna throw the funds at it.
I think the most expensive part would be coming in the, getting the track certified.
Yes.
And timers. Timers are expensive.
Timers, and then once you start getting into vetting, then you're also going to get into all your horses have got to be checked to make sure they're not doping, because trust me, people will take advantage of you if you're not. And that creates a whole new world that we're not ready to step up into at this point.
It's kind of like starting over with a new venue with a tractor pull. The first one's probably not going to be real good. The second
Right.
one's going to be a little better, and you go step every year a little bit.
Well, your problem right now is you've had a track that's had this performance for how long? So now you're trying to reinvent it, and
Trying to reinvent the wheel.
right, and it's gonna be tough.
It's either going to be tough, or we're going to get blowed out of the water
Mm-hmm.
with spectators.
I mean, I've seen a lot of blown out of the water with spectators things.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know, I guess, my opinion would be, what's it gonna cost, and what's it labor
I would like to
intensive?
see if we can up the days and see what kind of response that we have. But again,
That means more.
purse money, it
Purse
means more
money.
hours. I mean, the hours, if you're talking about upping it from once to 2 or 3, seeing where it falls, doing the same thing again next year. I mean, they are all very committed to what they do.
Does the horse racing here overlap Ocean Downs?
Yes.
Ocean Downs and Delaware, doesn't it?
No, because
No, I
Delaware's
think-
closed because of the fair.
Harrington's done till the fall.
Right, they close for the fair.
Dover,
Takes a break now.
they're done. this
So
time.
Ocean is open until September 3rd. And then they close September 3rd, and they do not open again until the end of May, I think was the start date this year. And they're a 4-day-a-week venue.
I mean, I just,
And if we did it, we would only do it on Saturdays, and like Dean was saying, it's for horses, it's a stepping stone. So if you want to go with other fellow two-year-olds, we could have a two-year-old race. What would be nice is having them timed.
Mhm.
And then you wouldn't have to drive all the way to Oxon
Well,
Hill,
then they
Maryland to qualify your horse.
They would get the data,
That lives in Whaley'sville.
right, because they would be able to get the data that they need instead of, I mean, I don't know, when we used to have testing tunes for the truck and tractor pools, you'd get everybody and their brother out there, because they wanted data on them trucks and those tractors. So if that horse racing's the same way, they want the data, you know, maybe an
Well,
early spring race that's the first one out would be a thing, or maybe the last one of the year or something, I don't know, just,
The last time that the USTA came here and recorded races was probably '08. So it's not been, the track's not been recertified. I don't even know how often you have to do that.
I just wanna know the money, I wanna know the figures, I wanna know what's it gonna cost, and what's it gonna bring in, and what are we up against as far as that? All I wanna know is
I mean, I even thought about
numbers.
doing it and doing an entry fee. But if you did an entry fee and you had, so if we have 10 races and there's 6 starters in every race and everybody pays $50 entry fee. That's not covering purses. I'm not good at math. I don't want to throw numbers out there that I can't back up. But $50 for 60 horses is peanuts.
Yeah, because you're not gonna pay the person to put on a couple races out of all of that.
All right, out of what you
It's
collect
something
in.
that we can,
But the racetracks are now starting something, I don't know if you're aware of it. When you enter in a horse, and I just give you a quick example. A purse is $5,000. So with a purse of $5,000, the winner gets $2,500. But there are now 8 horses in there. The first 5 get paid. But everybody who entered into that race, I don't know what, because I haven't raced a horse in 2 years at the racetrack, but everybody gets an entry fee. There's no other way, so, but that's 126 horses for paying $15 a night. And that's just paying to pay the vets or keep the lights on or 15 times 126.
I'm assuming horse racing is a lot like truck and tractor pulling, where your money is coming in from your spectators.
yes.
I mean, your sponsorships.
Ocean Downs, yes, Ocean Downs is one of the best.
Your sponsorships are not paying but maybe 20% of whatever your purses are in truck and tractor pulling, and I'm gonna assume that horse racing is probably the same thing. Your money comes in from those butts in the seats.
Right, and Ocean Downs has one of the best attended track attendance records in North America.
Find out what they do, man. That's what it is.
They're just 10 miles from the beach. And what you're getting are people who have never seen a horse racing going, oh, there's horse racing 10 miles from here. Why don't we go look? And they make it family friendly.
Is there any way you could have a horse race the same weekend or the same time frame as Jinky Pony Swim? Like either the weekend before or the weekend after that? Because that place gets Mob City down there, and they swim them during the week. Why don't you see if you can do a race that weekend before, weekend after, and piggyback on them?
Not do it during the fair,
Do
or do it 2 weekends in a row.
I mean,
Because they're almost, because pony penning is what, July 30th this year?
Middle of the week.
yeah, so the race is the weekend after now. So why, normally it's a week apart. We should have piggybacked on that. But, I mean, I don't know.
But the thing is, in the racing community, isn't that a big weekend for another race?
Nobody here is gonna be,
But the horses.
that's
that
when you're gonna
run
be in front of the
here
TV
now-
at 5 o'clock. That's what that is.
Okay.
I have the phone in, so he's referring to $7 million.
I don't know. I just want to know how this needs to make money.
Okay.
That's
We
all.
will look into that and readdress that at a different time, a later date. Any comments?
I don't have any.
I'm looking forward to the fair. I think the communication between the fair, between us and the city has, between the fair and the city has opened up and become much better, and I appreciate that. That's all.
My only comment is that I did address the weed issue out there. And I got 3 different quotes, but, they're not cheap. So I'm gonna follow up again with that, I guess, with Mike and Scott to figure out what we can expect with that. And then, I guess, relay that, because I'm very concerned with the state that the fairgrounds looks right now. If we're going to have a lot of big ticketed events this year, and a lot of traffic, and a couple of the events, we already have over 1,000 tickets sold for, so I'm a little concerned about that, but that's, I mean, I realize it's still plenty of time away. They may have already adjusted that on their schedule, I just need some reassurance. That's my only thing for that. But otherwise, yeah, I'm looking forward to the fair, and I think that'll be great. Horse racing will be great. I think we can figure out a way to turn this around, so that's my only thing.
Well, just to address your comments a little bit, I did talk with Bill East today, being I've been out of town on vacation, just to see where we stand. And he is diligently working on the grass at the fairgrounds, and said that he had a lot more to do. There has been some employee changeover, but he is adjusting his schedules, and unless something unforeseen happens with a major water break, sewer break, or something like that, that is going to pull them away from his tentative schedule, the grass should be taken care of.
Okay.
Now, one thing that I'm not sure if it's something the city can help us with, that after being out there last night for a Inc. meeting, we need to reach out, whether it's the city or whether it's Inc., to the county mosquito control and see if they won't make some passes around the fairgrounds prior to the fair, and even first thing in the mornings while the fair is going on, before there's anybody out there to help out with the mosquito issue.
That is actually the state.
Okay.
And that is something that is coordinated, that's something that the state does. We don't control when they come and do the
Well,
mosquito
Does-
control.
I know before we reached out, because we reached out to the county, through the county commissioners, and got it done several times.
Right, and they said, call a little closer to the fair.
Because I know,
We're gonna have so right now, we're gonna have an even bigger issue because of the rain. And now, just looking on my phone, it looks like it's raining now. And that is gonna be our biggest, that is actually gonna be our biggest nemesis with cutting the grass, because as long as the grass is wet, they can't cut the grass. And looks like rain is in the forecast every day for the rest of this week.
Because of the Delaware Fair.
Mm-hmm.
That's why.
it's raining hot every time the Delaware State
Yeah.
Fair. You
Every
can count
single
on
time.
it. Even the weatherman can't sit.
Mhm.
Whatever the date of the Delaware State Fair is, count on it being 95, 97, 96, and it's gonna rain. You're gonna have flash showers. But that is, whether it's a state agency, whether it's the county, that is something that we need to reach out, find out who we need to reach out to, so it's taken care of. Because otherwise, they're gonna be horrendous.
Well, I can tell you this, just be glad you don't live where I live at, because they're bad in Princess Anne.
I'm allergic to it.
Look,
I know,
she
but
knows exactly what I'm talking about.
And we don't even have a lot of rain. It's the
No.
Princess Anne bubble.
Yeah. But no, I will reach out and I will get Mike on it tomorrow and see if there's somebody we can contact from the state, to see what the schedule is and if there is some type of schedule for.
Well,
like,
I thought
hopefully it's
the county also did it, because don't they have the spray trucks right there at the county roads department? So that is a Worcester County thing, because as a Worcester County resident, you can pay to have the trucks come in your neighborhood and spray.
Well, I know for the city, we pay the state to do it.
Okay.
So that's why I'm saying the state.
But I know if you live in Worcester County, in the rural part of the county, somebody can get together and say, we have 20 houses, these are the houses that are paying, and they will come spray in your yards.
At 1 a.m.
That too. I don't know if you
Based
know that.
Based on temperature, it could be at 1 a.m., it could be at 6, because at certain temperatures, they can't spray,
We'll
if it's so warm.
we'll figure it out. I'll get. Well,
You
I'll
go
talk-
your avenue, and
Yeah,
then we'll check with the county or see, but that's something that we need to chase down both ways.
Man. Okay. No, I'm coming.
Okay?
Yep, I got nothing.
Motion to adjourn.
Y'all don't have any comments?
We just did comments. You commented, she commented, and I commented.
John, you don't have anything to say?
Not today.
This is the motion to adjourn. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
I have keys I gotta get,
Adjourn.
and a pen.
Better go get them keys.
Where did it go?
Blue.
I know, like I barely touched it and it flew off.